Okay, welcome to the podcast Bellissimo Gusta. I'm your host, Salvatore Mitchke, and today I have a very special guest, my girlfriend, Vita. And she's here to talk about her incredible pasta bolognese. If you've ever wondered how to make a rich, delicious bolognese that everyone will go crazy for, you're in the right place. And if you're here, you must love good food as much as I do. This podcast is all about discovering the secrets behind some amazing home-cooked recipes, exploring cooking techniques, and getting a peek into the kitchens of people who really know their stuff. So let's dive in. So, Vita, how are you today? You doing okay?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's a very nice October afternoon.
It's actually November.
It is. It's November 2nd. Yeah, I know. Man, that's crazy. Already almost more than halfway through the school year now at this point. But anyway, the way that we're going to go through this podcast is that I will give you a topic and I will ask you a question about this topic. So, first topic we're going to talk about is recipe inspiration. First question. What inspired you to start making pasta bolognese? Did you base it on a particular recipe or come up with it on your own?
Pasta bolognese is always my go-to at restaurants. So I figured if I'm just going to get it all the time, might as well learn how to make it. So then my mom made it, and then I started making it, and then just did little tweaks to it and make it my own way.
And how did your mom learn how to make it? Was it same thing with you? Did you learn on your own or just from restaurants?
She learned on her own. She does all her stuff from whatever she knows from her mom.
Oh, really?
Whoever, yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I'm guessing, your grandmother probably made it for her too, and, probably her great-grandmother and stuff. Oh, that's very interesting. Well, you're from Puglia, right? So in Puglia, was that, a known thing for, Puglia families to kind of, make, or is it just, your own family thing?
I'm not really sure because I know where we're from. It's more of the poor side, so it's a lot of fish, pasta, and beans kind of thing. But
I see.
Not too sure.
Yeah, see, that's the same thing for me too, except for my family is more from Sicily, and because of that, we had a lot of potatoes, and we grew a lot of potatoes in my family, and my family, like your family, grew from an area where there was a lot of poverty, and potatoes was very easy to grow. It was very easy to make. Pasta with potatoes. And it fills you up pretty quickly too. And it's cheap. So that is awesome. Yeah, no, I have gone through very similar things with my home as well. So that's awesome. All right. So next topic we're going to talk about is key ingredients. First question. What are the must-have ingredients in your bolognese? Is there anything unique that makes it special compared to other bologneses you've ever tasted in your life?
So for mine, I use a mix of sweet and spicy Italian sausage. I know my mom uses beef, but I think the sausage just tastes better. I also use carrots, white onion, celery, and red wine.
Wow, okay. Yeah, because I think my mom also cooks too, and she cooks pasta bolognese. And she uses meat sauce, I believe. Meat sauce, and she gets ground up meat, and she cooks it like a burger almost, but it's ground up in a pot, and she actually puts the meat in the pot with all the gravy and the sauce, right? So
that's how I do it. I cook all the meat and the vegetables first, and then I also like using sausage because it doesn't let out as much fat as a ground beef would.
Oh, okay.
So then I could just put the sauce in, and I don't really have to drain any fat out.
Are there any other alternatives I would use other than sausage and ground beef?
Whatever you want. I've done it with ground turkey. You could do it with beef.
Oh, wow.
You could do it with chicken. Really, whatever your preference is.
I've actually never tried that with ground beef and turkey and chicken. That sounds really interesting. I never even thought about that. Because immediately I think ground beef, ground beef, you can use it for pasta bolognese, you can use it for a burger, you can use it for anything, really. But when it comes to turkey, I'm thinking, turkey, Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving turkey.
A lot of people like using ground turkey because it also is healthier than ground beef or pork.
That's cool. Okay. I did not know that. See, you learn new things every day. All right, that's awesome. That's great. All right, let's go to the third topic. Third question. Cooking techniques. Can you walk us through some of the main steps of preparing this pasta bolognese? Any maybe tricks for achieving the right texture, the flavor, anything, maybe like a hidden secret that you maybe don't want to say, but maybe you can in this podcast.
I don't have any hidden secrets, but I like to prep everything beforehand, and I like to chop everything up nice and small. And then I'll cook the vegetables first and get those nice and soft. And then I'll add the whatever meat I'm using and then cook that. And then when that's basically almost done, I'll add the wine and let that cook for a minute or two. And then I add my tomatoes, my seasonings, and then I just let it cook for like at least 2-3 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now you're doing this the day of. You're not doing anything before, like a day prior. Because I know like some people, like my mom, for example, like when she's cooking steak, right? And she's marinating the steak. She'll do it a day before where she adds whatever she adds into a pot or a bag and lets the steak sit overnight. So it really takes up all that flavor in that bag, right? So do you do anything similar to like, let's say like the meat that's in, like the ground up meat that you put in or the sausage that you put in?
I don't. Because you're going to, either way it's going to be cooked. So if I was to prep it for the day before, if I'm short on time the next day, I would just cook the whole thing and then wait for it to cool off and then put it in the fridge and just reheat it.
Oh, okay. And now let's say, because, I mean, I know you like to cook with fresh food almost every day. And I know you're a firm believer at that. But let's say if there was ever a situation where you would have to put it in the freezer, like, would that be okay? Or
yeah, I freeze it all the time.
Oh, you do?
Like the extra sauce, I freeze it because you can always just, what I do is I defrost it and then I just add another can of tomatoes just to freshen it up and re-season it.
Oh, so the flavor sometimes could even die out a little bit, so you would add more flavor into it.
Yeah, because also when you freeze it, you also have to remember it's going to get a little watered down because of like
because of evaporation too, like with all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, because even relating this back to me, like with my mom, like for example, I mean, depending on the dish too, my mom is also a big firm believer in cooking fresh food, but also there'll be times where she'll have to put stuff in the fridge. And let me just give you a quick example with the pasta and potatoes that we were talking about earlier. What's great about that dish is, right, you can cook it and you could actually save it because it doesn't go bad so quickly. You could put it in the fridge for, let's say, almost up to like 4 or 5 days if you could really push it, as long as you keep it refrigerated. And you could reheat it, add a little more spice, a little bit more water, whatever you have to add to it, and it still tastes amazing. So that's interesting to know because I know there's some dishes that you can't even do that with. Like I believe, for example, there's I forgot the name of the dish. I'm trying to think of it. I think it was pasta with zucchini. Where you can't really do that because of the way that it is prepared and how you set the table and everything and you put in the dish. But kind of really making sure that the flavor is not lost. Mm-hmm. So understand, like, there's some dishes that you can do that with and there's some dishes you can't. And fortunately, it seems like pasta bolognese, you can put it in the fridge and the flavor won't really get lost. Yeah. Or even chili, right? We know that chili, and you make really good chili too, and my mom makes chili, right? You can put that in the fridge and it'll last pretty long time. Like that's one of those things that will definitely stay in there for a good amount of time. Which this also brings us to our next topic, seasoning, right? Question 4. How do you like to season your bolognese? And do you have any tips for getting the seasoning just right?
I do fresh garlic powder, salt, pepper, dried basil, and fresh basil. Mm-hmm. I do it that way. And I eyeball everything. I don't have any use exact measurements or whatever, and I'll kind of just like taste it throughout the way and see if it needs anything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes like we try to cook together every now and then, and I see you like you're trying to cook and you just throw the stuff in there. I'm like, wait, how do you know what to do? Like, but you have a lot of experience compared to what I have. The only thing I could really cook is pasta zucchini and making pesto sauce. But you have this whole repertoire of all these different dishes that you can make. So you definitely have easier understanding with all that stuff, which is great. But that's awesome. That's very, very interesting. So, yeah, that's cool. All right, let's get on to the next topic, pasta pairing. Do you have a favorite pasta to serve it with, or does it change?
I usually do like some shape of rigatoni, either the short ones, the long ones, or anything. I like to use the pasta with the ridges.
Oh, okay.
Anything that has like the lines in it, I feel like that one works best.
Why is that?
I don't know. I feel like it just holds the sauce better.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Because I know like there's like the smooth rigatoni, and like I don't really like those too much because it doesn't really hold much the sauce.
Like
it falls
right
off.
of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've always kind of thought about that, but I never really thought about that in detail, like in terms of trying to make sure that the sauce is actually staying on the pasta, because that's where the flavor really is that combination of pasta with the sauce and the Bolognese, if you know what I mean. So that's really cool. Okay. That's great. Now, going on to the second to last topic, common mistakes. What's a common mistake that people can make with preparing Bolognese, and how can they avoid it?
Well, making Bolognese is very simple, so there's not really many mistakes that you can make. I would say one is just not cooking it long enough, because the longer you cook it, the more the flavor is going to enhance.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I like cooking it for at least like 2-3 hours. So I feel like everything like comes together.
Okay, I see. Yeah, because I mean, obviously you don't want to cook it too much to the point where it's gonna burn, right?
No, you cook it on low.
Oh, you cook
it
it on
basically
low.
just simmers all day.
Oh, I see. Oh, so it's actually better to slowly cook it at a lower temperature than to cook it at a higher temperature at a higher pace. Mm-hmm. Now, have you ever done that where you've had to cook it at a faster pace at a higher temperature and has it tasted different?
I have. It's not that far off. Like, it's still good, but it's better when it's like long and slow.
Yeah. It's almost like, you have to really marinate it and, make sure that the flavor really takes into the meat and all that stuff and to the pasta. So that's, that's a good thing to point out. Because, like, a person like me, I'm always, not all the time, but, sometimes I'll be up in a rush. And, I'm trying to make sure I have the food and making sure it's good. It's going to taste good. So that's good to know. I'm glad I learned something new today about that. All right, so let's get to the last topic here. Favorite part of your process. What is your favorite part about making or sharing this dish?
My favorite part is serving it, because everybody always gets really excited. And the whole table goes quiet because everybody's shoving their face.
Honestly, I can say that I'm one of those people, because I love your cooking. And what's great about your cooking is not only do you make it for your family, you're also making it out of love, right? And I love that about you. That is top tier, the best thing, one of the best things in the entire world. I have tasted your pasta bolognese before, and you're definitely right about the part where I go silent as I'm shoving food down my throat, because it's that good. It is very, very good. Well, that is awesome. That's great. Unfortunately, that's the only time we're going to have today for this podcast. But I appreciate you coming on for this for me. And hopefully in the near future, we can have a different podcast again.
Hopefully.
All righty. That's the end of this podcast. Bellissimo gusta. I'm your host, Salvatore Mitchke, and hope you have a wonderful cooking day.